Hello and a warm welcome to our Independence Day special conversations where we are in touch with the heads of various institutes and the heads of various ministries across what have been their achievements and what have been their objectives. In today's episode, I have a very special personality, Dr. G. Satheesh Reddy, who is the chairman of the Defence Research and Development Organization. He is one of the most renowned aerospace scientists in the country. He's also secretary to the Department of Defence R&D, and he's also the DG of Aeronautical Development Agency. I welcome you, Mr. Reddy, on the program.
Thank you.
Over all these years, if you look at the journey of Defence Research and Development Organization, how fulfilling over the decades has been the journey of this entity?
Let me give you a little brief of DRDO. I think you all know DRDO was actually started its journey in 1958 as a testing organization, and then it converted itself into a scientific research, then technology development, then design and development, then started taking programs in a big way from 1980s onwards. If you look at 1980s, I think we didn't have anything in the country of our own, whether missiles or radars or tanks or aircrafts or whatever you say. In 1980s, the program, Dr. Kalam, who was the director, DRDL, Defence Research and Development Laboratory, Hyderabad, took the program of IGMDP, the Integrated Guided Missiles Development Program, where simultaneously developing the 5 missiles, the Prithvi, Agni, Akash, Trishul and Nag 5 missiles. So that's where the major programs started and development of these missiles. And then simultaneously the main battle tank Arjun development, and close to about 90s, the light combat aircraft, the Pinaka rockets, all these things have been taken up. And then a little later, actually the weaponization program started. The Agni missiles, the Prithvi missiles induction, development of Agni 1, Agni 2 and all that, and then Akash missile, and the LCA program started moving in a big way. And by 2010, I think all this started going into the armed forces. Prithvi got inducted, Agni 1 got inducted, Agni 2 got inducted, Agni 3 getting inducted, and the initial operational clearance of light combat aircraft has been given by the Air Force. Main battle tank Arjun has been inducted into the armed forces. So lots of development started in that area. So what I say is 1980s is one jump what DRDO got. From there it got into actually the system of systems and large platforms development. That is what brought in change in the country, where we can also develop many things.
Right.
Today, if you look, we have many things DRDO has developed in the country. We have developed the series of missiles, Agni 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the Prithvi, the Dhanush, the Akash, and then talk of the light combat aircraft. The final operation clearance has come. I think very soon the 83 numbers of the LCA Mark 1A, also the single largest number of aircrafts order being placed by the Air Force. The main battle tank Arjun, the next version, also completed its user trials. The Pinaka got into the armed forces in a big way. And then today we have number of our radars which are inducted into the armed forces, number of electronic warfare systems inducted into the armed forces, number of sonars got developed into and inducted into the armed forces. So we can say in many areas over these years, now last about 30 to 40 years, we have become self-reliant in many areas and taken up many advanced programs.
Mr. Reddy, so from the defense research to a lot of diversification which has happened, what about realizing the technology as usable products as far as industry is concerned? What is the challenge there?
See, the challenges what we have gone through in the last 30, 40 years are many. Firstly, what has happened is the ecosystem should exist in the country. Ecosystem in the sense, the academia, the industry, the quality system and many things. So when I say academia, normally the basic research goes on in academia, and that basic research input comes to the R&D organizations like DRDO, wherein you do more of applied research to translational research to take to the prototype, and then you give it to the industry.
Right.
So when you look at about 30-40 years back, in the country, there were no academic institutes which were working in this direction of what is required for the defense and related aspects and all that. They can be even dual use technologies and science related also, there are not many. So then over the last 30-40 years, we worked with all these academic institutes, and the many academic institutes started working in towards us, working on our problems related to us, and then they come to the same plane as what the defense scientists work and things like that. Similarly, when you look at the industry, industry was actually, there were very few industries when we took up in 1980s the IGMDP program or Arjun and all that. They were, most of the industries were CNC lathe machines and some electronics people, and who you give a circuit or you give a drawing, then you make as per the drawing sort of a thing, which is called actually build to print.
Right.
And so you were not able to do anything on your own. That was the type of a system. Whereas, the countries which were developed, Europe or US, you take it up, they had all this ecosystem existing. So over these years, this ecosystem has been built. There are many academic institutes. Now we are working with about close to 300 academic institutes in the country today.
Okay.
We have our centers of excellence in various academic institutes where they are working. Any review you take today, there are at least 3-4 professors who are sitting there, and industry people are also sitting. There are many industries which have changed from build to print to build to specification.
Right.
Meaning you say that I want the particular equipment with this type of specifications, they will be able to make equipment on their own, they are able to develop on their own and come up. So that actually helps you a lot. If I am developing aircraft, let's say today I am going for LCA Mark II or a new generation aircraft, I can order them, you make a mission computer like this, you make a display like this, you make an actuation system like this, you know, so many things you can tell them and they will be able to come up. You concentrate more on the core aircraft design and the structure, the aerodynamics, the other features, what you are required and all. So that way it helps you to make the things happen very fast, and then you will be able to produce in large numbers. The quality system exists, the quality agencies were created. So these were the challenges what we have gone through over years. And now I think we can say the country is geared up to take up the next level of tasks.
But DRDO is a network of about 52 organizations with about 5,000 scientists working currently, with an additional support staff of say about 25,000. Are there any plans of diversifying DRDO further, maybe in terms of the number of institutes?
Number of institutes wise, last year, we have started on the directions of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji that you create young scientist laboratories. So the direction was very clear. We had a lot of faith in the youngsters and they can create a lot of wonders. And so he asked us to create laboratories where all the scientists are below 35 years old, including the head of the institution.
Okay.
So we have created 5 laboratories last year, and Honorable Prime Minister himself has dedicated these laboratories to the nation, and all the scientists working in these 5 laboratories are below 35 years old, including the director, and that young boy has all the powers like any other director of any big laboratory or a very senior director has got. So these were the new things which were created, and probably as the new technologies are emerging, we will be and we may be creating some more young scientist laboratories also.
But wherever you talk about the defense technology, there is a perception, maybe because of the ecosystem which has existed over all these years, that you are more reliant on the foreign countries. Say, for example, Rafale, you had to import an equipment like that, an aircraft like that. So how self-reliant are we now in terms of maybe aircrafts or the aeronautical engineering? Would like to understand from you.
A good question what you have asked. Let's say I'll give you a detailed answer in this. Over the years, we have become self-reliant in some areas, definitely. The areas are the missiles, we are completely self-reliant. The radars, we can make any type of a radar in the country today. Electronic warfare systems, completely we have developed everything in-house and then delivered. The sonar systems which are required for all the ships and submarines have been developed here in the country, and we are completely self-reliant in that area.
And you're not importing any technology as far as
Absolutely, absolutely, nothing. It's when I say self-reliant, Everything is designed by us, everything is made by us. Maybe few components, electronics and things like that which are there in the free market are available to us. We are self-reliant in the area of torpedoes. We are self-reliant in the area of communications. We are self-reliant in the area of artillery guns, big guns and all that. And now I can confidently say that we can build aircrafts also, which I'll be coming to that little later. A lot of aircrafts we can develop. We can build any tank in the country. So these are all the areas where we have become self-reliant, and we are not dependent on any import. We don't have any critical component which we depend on the imports. But then we are one of the largest importer of arms and equipment, still you know that. So this is one thing which we need to change. Still almost about 50% of the things are imported. So there are lots of things which you need to work. The large platforms like what you brought in rightly, aircrafts. Now onwards we should be able to make almost all the aircrafts within the country. Okay. We should be able to make all the submarines in the country. You should be able to make all the helicopters in the country. And you should be able to make all the tanks in the country. And if you are able to attack this, and if any advanced missiles and things like that or radars are required, which you have the capability if you are able to make, then if you concentrate on these areas, definitely your indigenous content will touch about 80%. Okay. So this is one of the things which I think we need to do as a country, and we should be able to take it up. And the next 5 to 7 years, if we can build these platforms, then you become one of the countries who are completely self-reliant in all the areas.
So basically the scale of production is not optimal the way it should be, you are saying, and that's the area where you're saying we need to work.
It's not the production alone. Yes, that is one of the important points where the production infrastructure, the testing infrastructure, this is one of the things which is important, which needs in the country. You need to develop these systems also. Right. You need to fifth generation fighter aircraft, you need to develop in the country. That is one of the important need. Maybe new generation tank you need to develop. Some of the submarines which are required for the country you need to develop. Helicopters, what are the advanced helicopters you should be able to develop. Then high altitude UAVs and all that you should be able to develop in the country. If you are able to develop these large platforms and some of the advanced missiles which are coming in now, those things also you should be able to develop in the country. So concentration should be more on the advanced technologies. That is what is required for the country today.
But Mr. Reddy, when you say that due to some reasons or due to certain factors, we are not able to do that up to the scale which is expected. So what are the major gap areas where you feel that one needs to work? Do we have enough scientists? Do we have enough technological sufficiency? Like in terms of what? What are the gap areas on which the country needs to work, or maybe the scientists need to work?
See, one thing is, let me tell you, the academic institutes in the country which are there, which they have been more focusing on the applied research to translational research till now. They need to concentrate more on the basic research.
Okay.
See, I'll tell you that, first of all, India has been till now a technology follower. Somebody makes some technology, then you work on it, and next 10 years you try to make that. This has been running. So that it has to change. You have to become a technology leader. If you have to become a technology leader, the basic scientific research on coming up future technologies you should be able to work now, not after somebody discovering. So for that, the fundamental research, basic research should happen in the academic institutes, what is required in these areas of this one thing. Second, DRDO cannot work in every possible area today. So there should be many things should be taken up by the industry, and DRDO should be focusing only on advanced technologies.
So are you hinting at the fact that there should be some kind of an outsourcing which can be done?
Industry should be encouraged more. Industry should be working on many development areas. Industry should be able to develop products on its own. Industry should be working on or doing research in the niche areas. Right. There are many industries in the country today. I can name at least about 50 to 60 industries who have done research in niche areas. They have come out with their own products. Okay. Then what happens is DRDO, you concentrate, you focus on the pure advanced research, advanced technologies, and work on the large and critical platforms like this fifth generation fighter aircraft or advanced missiles, hypersonics, and so many things.
Right. But with the kind of progress which DRDO has made, I think it's a long road to go, but I'm sure the scientists with their proficiency and skill will pull it off well. But let's take a break at this point of time. When we return, we talk to Dr. Satheesh Reddy about the impact of artificial intelligence and robotics and many other technologies, the new technologies which are being worked upon. Back in a moment.
India Science is an internet-based science TV channel initiated by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, implemented and managed by Vigyan Prasar. India Science on the URL www.indiascience.in is a bilingual channel with content in Hindi and English. It can be accessed on any internet-enabled device. This video platform is dedicated to science and technology knowledge dissemination with a strong commitment to spreading scientific awareness, especially with Indian perspectives, ethos and cultural context. The India Science mobile app can be downloaded from the Google Play Store and Apple Store.
Welcome back after the break, and we are in conversation with DRDO Chairman Dr. Satheesh Reddy. Dr. Reddy, would like to understand from you that because of the pandemic, has there been any impact of the pandemic on the defense research, on the defense work which is related to the industry? Has it got impacted? Has there been a slowdown because of that? Would like to understand the challenges related to this.
I have to say that there has been some impact. There's no doubt about it. A lot of people got infected, and so because of the reasons, many people have been quarantined, and there have been only about, in some cadres, there have been only about 20%, 30% people attending. So meaning you couldn't work with your full strength. But the laboratories have been continuously working, and they've been working day and night, both for the defense programs, and also in fact I should appreciate my scientists who have dedicatedly worked during this pandemic period, day and night, and came out with many products in the fight against this COVID pandemic. DRDO has come out with at least about 75 technological products, and which have been given to various industries. We got all these industries opened. Maybe about 800 industries we got opened during the lockdown period. They also have worked with us, and many critical technologies have been developed.
And they are manufacturing what all?
In all these industries. Let me give you the most critical thing is the ventilator. Completely indigenous high-end ventilator has been developed. A private industry in Mysore and Bharat Electronics Limited and DRDO continuously providing all the critical components designed and developed and then producing to industry. And Bell has produced now more than about 15 to 20,000 ventilators today. And in a short span of about 2 months, the country could produce about 40,000 ventilators today. That's the type of a scenario. And we have produced masks, we have produced PPEs. They have reached to a level of more than 1 lakh per day. And many UV scanning things and disinfectants, microwave disinfectants, then talk about many sanitizers and a lot of equipment in the airport, the luggage scanning equipment onwards, paper scanning and your instrument scanning, sanitizing systems. And likewise, there are about 75 products and being produced by about 176 industries or so now today. And that's how country could gear up to the situation. You see now everywhere sanitizers are there, masks are there, PPEs are there, the face shields are there. The many bio laboratories have been created, and doctors के लिए lot of facilities. इतना किया है हमने.
But for a common man who is a layman, for him, I think when you talk about DRDO, it's all about defense research, and people would never have imagined that even DRDO scientists can work on things like PPE and sanitizing dispenser units.
In fact, actually, there is one thing I should again appreciate the scientists, the way they have worked, and then all these products have been made. Every day there has been 1 or 2 products which were coming out of DRDO. I think that made DRDO really, people have come to know what is DRDO. There is an organization which is working for the defense, but during this pandemic period, working for this COVID also. So many people who are not aware of DRDO have come to know about DRDO and started appreciating in a big way.
Mr. Reddy, now talking about the technology, say for example, artificial intelligence, a lot of work is being planned, and would like to understand from you that where is India right now as far as the usage of artificial intelligence and robotics is concerned? Where all are we applying it?
Let me talk about more on the defense side. A lot of work has gone in, a lot of work is going on, both in artificial intelligence and robotics. We have established a long back a laboratory in Bangalore called CARE, Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics, who have been working on artificial intelligence products in a big way, robotics also in a big way. And as I said, Honorable Prime Minister, what he has directed as the Young Scientist Laboratory, which we have created recently, also is artificial intelligence. Many technologies we are working. In fact, now onwards, any system comes out will have artificial intelligence into it. Okay. And a lot of scientists or engineers are also getting produced. A lot of courses have been started in the academic institutes. We are also encouraging them. We are also training people on artificial intelligence. And a lot of products and the robotics also have been taken up. Many products which we use in the surveillance and things like that. There are autonomous vehicles, autonomous systems which are required in various terrains. They are all also been developed, and a lot of work is going on. In fact, the private industry also has come up in this area in a big way. Okay. We should appreciate that, and I think private industry should be able to take up in these advanced technologies in a big way, artificial intelligence and robotics.
Okay. Before I go for another break, I would like to ask you that for a common man to understand that how artificial intelligence and robotics is going to be applied to defense. Say for just give one example and maybe just explain how that technology is going to apply.
See, let's say just you take a drone or a UAV.
Okay.
Which is artificial intelligence built. Then the system, first of all, knowing the environmental conditions, how it should be able to itself guide itself, control itself and things like that, and based on the situation, sensing the situation. Similarly, the purpose of surveillance, what you are given, and it can decide where to do the surveillance, where not to concentrate and things like that. And let's say there's an intruder coming, so the drone detects, then concentrates, tracks, probably identifies and sends the information, give the alerts and all that. So likewise, you take many examples, you can come in.
And you have foreign collaborations with this?
Not much. I don't think we have any foreign collaborations in this area. Okay. We are doing mostly on our own here. A lot of academic institutes are cooperating with us in a big way. A lot of young engineers are coming up in this area, and we are able to do mostly on our own in this area.
Okay, so let's take a break at this point of time, and when we return, we talk to Dr. Reddy about the future and the vision which is ahead of DRDO, and also a little bit about the ballistic missile systems. Back in a moment.
India Science is an internet-based science TV channel initiated by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, implemented and managed by Vigyan Prasar. India Science on the URL www.indiascience.in is a bilingual channel with content in Hindi and English. It can be accessed on any internet-enabled device. This video platform is dedicated to science and technology knowledge dissemination with a strong commitment to spreading scientific awareness, especially with Indian perspectives, ethos and cultural context. The India Science mobile app can be downloaded from the Google Play Store and Apple Store.
Welcome back. We are in conversation with DRDO Chairman Dr. Satheesh Reddy. Would like to understand how far have you reached as far as the ballistic missile system is concerned? At what stage are we really?
As I said, we have a lot of technologies developed in the missiles. We are self-reliant in the area of missiles. Many technologies which are required for these development of various missiles, including ballistic missiles, have been developed in the country. You know, the missiles like Prithvi or Agni series of missiles, Agni 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 have been developed, which are the state-of-the-art missiles having a long-range capability up to 5,000 kilometers, have been developed in the country. And so country is in a strong position with respect to ballistic missiles is concerned.
But globally, if you see, where does India stand as far as the missile systems are concerned?
The ballistic missiles, we are one of the 6 or 7 nations in the world who have this capability. In fact, let me tell you, we are one of the, I think, 7 nations in the ballistic missiles who have developed this capability. We are one of the 6 nations in the world who have developed their own main battle tank. We are one of the 6 nations who have developed their own fighter aircraft. We are one of the, again, 6 nations who have developed your own AVAX systems. And you are one of the 4 nations who have done your own anti-satellite test. And you are one of the 5 nations who have developed their own ballistic missile defense. And so many things which made you be online with the same 6 or 7 nations in the world who are most advanced nations in the world.
Another thing, and which has been intriguing the people, and there are many articles also which have come on that, is the unmanned aerial vehicle. How far have you reached as far as UAVs are concerned?
We have made many small UAVs which are called drones and all that, and then we have made a micro type of a UAV also, and then we are also developing another bigger, it is called medium altitude long endurance UAV ourselves, and that is in the testing now. Probably by this year end to next year beginning, that should be going through all the tests and should be able to offer it to the armed forces. And so yeah, this area we have actually not come up to the level, meaning we should have developed this a couple of years back itself. I have to agree that, and definitely we should be able to catch up, and by next year we should be able to meet all the requirements now.
Mr. Reddy, how do you really see the next maybe 5 years for DRDO?
Next 5 years is very critical, particularly with the Honorable Prime Minister giving a call earlier on Make in India, now Atmanirbhar Bharat, and concentrating heavily on that. We should be self-sufficient in these areas. So we have to work on many of the advanced technologies and systems and platforms. So this we have laid a clear roadmap for ourselves. What is our target for next 2 years, next 5 years, and next 10 years? So end of 5 years, we like to see that many of these gaps which are there in the systems today, which are being developed either in the platforms or systems, we should be able to develop, and by about next 7 to 8 years, we should have indigenous content at least about 75 to 80% in our armed forces. And by about 10 years, India should be definitely developing all the advanced technologies on its own, not following some country, but you also leading the world in many of these technologies.
There are a lot of youngsters in the country whom I've heard saying that they want to become like Dr. Satheesh Reddy. Now, what do you have to tell those youngsters?
There are a lot of opportunities for the youngsters. We are encouraging them. We have opened about 500 PhDs where they can work in defense-related problems in our own laboratories, and we are taking them for their own final year project works in the BTech and MTech, and they can join as our scientists. And we have a number of schemes where we are encouraging them, called Dare to Dream. Dr. Kalam used to say that dream, dream, dream. So innovation contest, and then if they come up with that, and we also can fund them for doing the development of that particular product. We have something called Technology Development Fund, where any indigenization of any existing imported product, we support the complete development. And many other schemes are also coming up. There are lots of youngsters who are entering into this area. This is a sea change what we are seeing in the last 4-5 years. Many startups are coming in the defense core areas, and they're ready to take up research also in that. And we are coming out with many schemes to support them also. And this actually brings in a definite change in the ecosystem where youngsters are getting into either in the government organizations or working through academia or their own startups. I think that is going to make the change.
So what do you have to tell the viewers this Independence Day as the DRDO head?
We have come up to certain level in all the technologies, and we are self-reliant in many areas today. And with the call given by Honorable Prime Minister on Atmanirbhar Bharat, we ourselves are taking up many programs and many technologies and many systems which will make India completely self-reliant in defense technologies in the coming few years.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reddy. It was a pleasure talking to you. And as Dr. Reddy has said, that a lot of work has been done as far as research in defense is concerned, innovations are concerned. But yes, there are a lot of opportunities for the youngsters too. But yes, it's a long road. And as Dr. Reddy said, we have a target set for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. So we'll all have to wait and watch what DRDO does under the leadership of Dr. Reddy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And wish you all a very happy Independence Day.